good morning or good afternoon, maybe it's good night, whatever time of day it is for you, it's time for 10 minutes of yoga. And today we're going to be working on hip openers. Some of my favorite yoga postures. They're so good for so many things. They can also help you wake up in the morning, just as the breathing exercises on the previous video. They can also help calm you down. But more importantly, they open the hips. And what that does is it eases any pressure or tension on the lower back. If you have bad knees, it could make them feel better. Hamstrings are healthy and safe. Also, we carry a lot of stuff in our hips, and by that I mean emotional stuff. And the more we can sort of get down on the floor, get into a hip opener and open those hips and release all of that negative energy, the healthier our body is overall. So I want you to start in Sukhasana, which is ankle stacked on ankle. And you can start whichever way you prefer, either right ankle on top of the left or vice versa. It really doesn't matter, because as always, we'll be doing both sides of the posture. So Sukhasana, the knees are open nice and wide, and the knees are sort of drifting towards the floor. Now you may find when you sit in this posture that your knees go way up like this, and that's okay. So use your hands on the floor. Maybe sit on a blanket or a block if this is really bad on your lower back. Lift up those sit bones and sit on top of something so that the knees can sort of drift a little lower. You're opening the hip joint and the groin a little bit just by sitting here. Knees wide, ankles stacked on ankle. Good, and just relax for a few moments. Release your tailbone. As soon as we start focusing on the hips, the butt muscles go like this. So let them go. Nice and soft, knees dropping into gravity, so just let them fall. Notice your breath. Start that Ujjayi breathing, so nice deep inhale through the nose. And on the exhale, exhaling through the nose, let everything fall. The shoulders, the belly is soft, the knees drop. Beautiful. And then from here, inhale, reach your arms towards the ceiling and sit up nice and tall. So you're learning to use the belly and the lower back together. You're sort of pressing down through the sit bones in order to lift through the torso. Your shoulders are nice and soft. And just breathe here for a few moments. You can close your eyes, let the knees drop. Full inhale. Nice long exhale. Good, and then drop your hands to the floor and sort of crawl forward, lowering down, folding in half. And I'll turn to the side so you can sort of see what I'm doing. Again, ankle is stacked on ankle, the knees are open wide, maybe you're sitting on a blanket or a block, and you crawl forward. And rather than thinking about getting the forehead to the floor, you want the belly to reach your ankles. And then slowly lower down. Maybe the ribs drop down and reach those feet. And once you've gone as far as those hips are going to let you go, just tuck your chin so the back of the neck is long. What you don't want to do is totally slump towards the floor. Rather stay nice and long. Go as far as you're going to go. Breathe there. Release the muscles around the tailbone and lengthen the back of that neck. And just breathe here. And maybe with each exhale, you drift a little lower, get your elbows out of the way. Maybe the forehead comes down a little further. Keep those shoulders nice and soft. Stay here for a few more moments. The longer we can take in a hip opener, the greater the body's response, the deeper you'll be able to go into that posture. So breathing, nice long Ujjayi breath, in and out through your nose. Knees drop open, belly expanding and contracting, shoulders releasing away from the ears. And on your next exhale, maybe fold a little further, exhale completely. Good, inhale, come all the way back up. And then switch the stack of your feet. So if you had the right foot on top this time, switch it, and vice versa. ankle stacked on ankle. So those knees are open wide and you're already starting to get into those inner hip joints, lengthening the thigh muscles, getting some space under those knees. And breathe here for a moment first. So again, we sit up tall with the inhale. The heart stays open and the shoulders stay soft. Just breathe here for a few moments. Don't be afraid of what's about to happen. Just be here for a moment with your breath. Good, and then inhale, reach for the ceiling again, extending the side body away from your hips, pulling the ribs gently in underneath your heart. Keep your shoulders soft. And then again, drop the hands with your exhale and crawl forward. Again, the belly goes first, down towards those ankles. Then the ribs drop down, then lengthening the back of the neck. So you're not slumping all the way forward. You're just extending and lengthening, keeping the back long and straight. It will have sort of a gentle curve in it, but mostly straight. Little by little, that torso descends, long neck. So you're tucking that chin, gazing at the floor, maybe crawling the hands a little further forward. Just step by step, inch by inch, breath by breath. So breathe here. Allow the tailbone to release. The sit bones stay on the floor. We don't want to crawl so far forward that the hips pop up off the floor or off your blanket. Sit back into those hips as you lengthen away from them. Shoulders stay soft. Expand the ribs sideways with your inhale and fill the hips with breath. And the exhale, release the tailbone, maybe drop a little lower. Couple more breaths here. Again, stay with it. Give the body a chance to let go. Good. Next exhale. Exhale completely. Squeeze that last bit of air out of the belly. Maybe drop a little lower. Beautiful. Inhale, crawl back up to sitting, nice and tall, and maybe straighten your legs out and give them a little shake. Good. So one more hip opener. Really going to get into the groin a little bit more here, because a lot of times our tension comes from that inner hip joint up the inner thighs as much as the back of the legs or the outside hips. That tension seems to surround our hips a lot. So the more we can get into all the spots front to back, the better. So bring the soles of your feet together, nice and flat at first. Hold on to those ankles and sit up tall. Now this may be really intense for you. So again, sit on a blanket or maybe even a block, because that will relieve some of that stretch, and it will certainly relieve any stress on the lower back. So holding on to the ankles, gently press your knees towards the floor. What you don't want to do here is bounce those knees like a butterfly's wings or something like that. That could pull those inner hamstrings or those groin muscles, and we don't want to do that. We want to keep the muscles nice and long and softly, gently coax them to stretch and open up. And if you're comfortable here and you're sitting up nice and tall, what we tend to do here is we sink back into that pelvis, and everything here collapses, the ribs collapse, because it's so tight on the back of the hips. So little by little, sit up tall. If you need to, you can use those hands behind you. Little by little, use those hands to get on top of those sit bones as much as possible. But if you're comfortable here, your pelvis is vertical, your spine is nice and tall, open your feet like a book. Pull the balls of the feet away from each other, pressing the knees gently towards the floor. Boy, does that get into those hip joints and those groin muscles. So it's the outside edge of your feet that are pressed together, pulling the soles apart, sitting up nice and tall, and this may be enough for you right here. If this is a good intense stretch on those inner thighs and those hip joints, then stay here and breathe. But if you want to take it a little further, keep pulling those feet apart, Same idea on the forward fold as we just did in Sukhasana. Lengthen the spine away from the hips. Keep everything nice and long, slowly lowering down. The belly drops gently, then the ribs, then tuck that chin, and slowly lower it all the way down and breathe. Full sound with your breath, gazing at the floor, pressing those knees gently down into your mat. Use the belly to lengthen away from those hips, maybe a little further, and breathe. Full exhale, maybe fold a little further, keep the shoulders soft, and then inhale slowly up to sitting. Beautiful. Draw your knees together, hug your knees, sit up nice and tall. Fantastic. So once you get up and start walking around, you're going to feel a little loosey-goosey, maybe a little lighter on your feet. Perhaps you'll be sore tomorrow, but that's a good thing. Drink lots of water. That'll help ease any soreness. And I'll see you next time. Thanks so much.